Good morning.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
The road to success is not an easy path to walk. It is filled with thorns, pitfalls, even at times it may lead us to thrones. Only those with strong determination in life could go for the fruit of success. We can come across people in the history of all those successful people. They had a failure in their book history, but they never gave till they become successful. They take extra energy to walk extra miles till they reach their target. Dear friends, a pleasant good morning to everyone. Nothing but heavenly predilection has brought us together this morning to rejoice at the presence of our eminent personalities, Dr. K. Rajaram and Dr. Malini Ganapati. Every morning is a surprise, and every sunrise is a challenge, and each day is a gift. To give the first fruit of the day to the Lord is one of the most valuable ways to show our love to God. Here is a prayer.
वन्दामकीर् श्रीमताण्डवन् पादुकान्कम् श्रीरङ्गक्षेत्रपवित्रोज्ज्वलपारिजातम् यत्र मानवा सर्वे सन्मार्गदर्शिताः नित्यं पठन्ति ते विज्ञानकलाभाषाः पाठतृप्तविषयेऽपि प्रवृत्तास्ते सुशीलगुणावपि अनुचरन्ति नित्यम् नानाकलाक्रीडेष्वपि सुशोभिताः सर्वत्र सर्वदा ते आत्मप्रभावैः ओषधिवने स्थापित प्रयोगशालासु सम्यक् प्रकाशयन्ति ते स्वप्रभावम् अत्रैवातीतयन्त्रविद्यासु निपुणास्ते विदेशेऽपि उज्ज्वलयन्ति शालाप्रभावम्.
Thank you, Amirdarshini, for invoking God's blessings on all of us. Welcoming is the noblest acts of any function. By welcoming, we make the persons feel at home amidst us. May I request our coordinator, Dr. M. Jayachandran, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of English, Srimat Andavan Arts and Science College, Trichy, to invite the dignitaries with his warm words of welcome. Please, sir.
Respected Principal, distinguished guests, and faculties from various institutions, and faculty of our college. Respected Principal, distinguished guests, faculties from various institutions, and faculty of our college, a pleasant morning to all. On behalf of Department of English, Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, I welcome you all to this one-day international faculty enrichment program on prospects and challenges in teaching and research. So on this special occasion, I welcome Dr. K. Rajaraman, Professor, Department of English, Annamala University, Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu, India, who has given immediate consent at the moment we requested him. Thank you, sir. And I welcome you, sir, to this session.
Thank you.
And one more resource person is shortly is going to join, Dr. Malini Ganapati, lecturer, University School of Language, Literacies and Translation, University Science, Malaysia. She's going to join shortly. And this special occasion, I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. M. Pichai, and who has been a constant source of inspiration in all our academic endeavors. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I welcome all faculty who are hailing from all across the states, and research scholars, language trainers, language promoters. I welcome you all. I welcome you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for welcoming the dignitaries. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I feel very privileged to invite our respected principal, Dr. M. Pichaimani, to deliver his presidential note. Please, sir.
Esteemed keynote speakers, Dr. Malini Ganapati, University Science, Malaysia, and Dr. K. Rajaraman, Professor, Department of English, Annam University, faculty colleagues from various institutions, language trainers, and faculty of our college, a pleasant morning and all present here through the online platform for the one-day international faculty enrichment program on prospects and challenges in teaching and research. I am extremely honored to welcome you all to this program organized by the Department of English. At the outset, I want to congratulate the organizers for arranging such a much attended event. Being a teacher means taking on many roles besides the deliverer of content. You have many responsibilities and take on many roles in our institution through participating in various activities involving various committees or anything that enables us to build a sense of community in our classes and within the college. But one role that is equally as well as important as that of being a teacher is being a learner has never been more important than now. Educators being in constant pursuit of knowledge and to consistently engage in different and perhaps challenging learning opportunities. We move into our students and fellow teachers to better ourselves so we can prepare for whatever it is that might become the cost of education landscape and the future of work. I hope this event will promote social practice relevant to teaching and research and motivate the faculty to achieve competitive teaching and learning environment. With the blessings of Almighty and our founder, His Holiness, I wish this program a grand success. I would like to convey this research to all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good things come to people who wait, but better things come to those who go out and get them. I invite Ms. G. Kirtana, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of English, Srimat Andavan Arts and Science College, to introduce the chief guest. Please, ma'am.
A pleasant morning to one and all gathered here. I'm elated to introduce the chief guest, Dr. K. Rajaraman. He is a professor of English in Annamalai University, Chidambaram. He is an expert in American literature and British literature. He has attended 10 international conferences, 20 national conferences, and 10 seminars. Under his guidance, 12 candidates have been awarded PhD. He is currently guiding 8 PhD research scholars. He is an esteemed member in the prestigious professional bodies such as British Council Modern Language Association. He has published 39 research articles in various reputed international journals. We are proud and privileged to have the opportunity to get insights from such an experienced and accomplished academician. Thank you, sir, for readily accepting our invitation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, the platform is yours.
Okay, okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Most respected Principal of Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, Sri Rangam, Professor Dr. Pichimani, revered Vice Principal of this college, Dr. Meera Parthasarathi, respected Dr. M. Jayachandran, coordinator of the program, Professor Dr. Malini Ganapati from University Science, Malaysia, Mrs. Indumadi, faculty members of the Department of English of Srimad Andavan Arts and Science College, faculty members across the nation who have joined this program, research scholars, and student friends. I feel extremely delighted to be a part of this program to share what I have learned these years, which would be of some help to the budding researchers and academicians. See, research is a great process which involves a huge amount of perspiration on the part of the researchers. Research is a never-ending process. See, the researchers keep on finding, gathering new ideas, new information, and they approach whatever be their area, be it arts, science, or engineering, whatever be the subject may be, or whatever be the faculty may be, researchers keep on arriving at possible, probable, even sometimes impossible and improbable ideas to make a kind of necessary change in the society. It is researchers who are eminent in transforming a society. When we come to the writing process of a research, the first point that I often used to point out, or the first point I often used to stress, used to highlight, is the statement that we arrive at. See, the statement may be called in different terminologies, whatever terminologies we employ, be it a hypothesis or thesis statement, or whatever new terminologies that we apply. in calling it, it is said to be, the statement is said to be the major controlling idea from where the work make needs to be clear, precise, and it serves as a pedestal for the whole thesis. Major controlling idea of the thesis. Major statement, we need to be cautious and we need to be very careful in arriving at this point. We need to refer to various sources, secondary sources. We have a thorough knowledge of the primary sources as far as thorough knowledge of the primary sources. Then we must have sufficient information on the secondary sources, on the literary works or various works carried out on the subject that you have chosen for scrutiny, chosen for analysis. So the thesis statement is said to be the major controlling idea of the thesis, and it is from there the research work progresses. See, the statement, it is not like making sweeping statements. So we have to stick to the statement that we have made, and the rest of the chapters should clearly support. See, even for, right, see, we move from, let me begin with, we move from a paragraph to a thesis. See, what are all the conventions that we follow in writing a paragraph? It must be applied to the whole thesis. See, in the case of a paragraph, see, let me move from paragraph to essay to thesis. See, we have the same kind of pattern. See, we may call it just a paragraph. See, it's the paragraph that makes the thesis. See, whatever rules that we follow. See, as far as our culture, our system is concerned, we keep on making statements without supporting the statement. That's how we write. We write, we keep on writing. We are good writers. There is no doubt about our writing. The problem with our writing is that if we write a paragraph, in the whole paragraph, we make statements without providing any kind of support. And the same thing is applied when we write an essay or a thesis. So that's why I am beginning with the art of writing a paragraph. See, don't come to any kind of conclusion that how can this man talk about writing a paragraph. My argument here is from moving from a paragraph to a thesis. Only those who write effective paragraphs can write effective essays and effective thesis. See, in the case of a paragraph, for example, if you take a paragraph is made up of, let us assume a paragraph is made up of 6 sentences or 7 sentences. Let us assume that a paragraph is made up of 6 sentences. The first sentence that we make in a paragraph is called a topic sentence. And the rest of the sentences support the topic sentence with specific evidence. We make a point and support the point. Then we support the point with the specific evidences, drawing illustrations from various sources in order to support the point that we have made. For example, in a paragraph, I call it a topic sentence. In the case of an essay or a thesis, we call it a thesis statement. I told you the first sentence in a paragraph is called a topic sentence, and the rest of the sentences should support the topic sentence. The key idea of the paragraph, the key idea of a sentence, the key idea that we have made in the introductory part of the sentence, that is the first sentence, it is called a topic sentence, and the rest of the sentences should clearly support the topic sentence. That should clearly support the topic sentence with specific evidence. Then we make the last statement is said to be a kind of concluding statement. And thus, these are all certain transition words that we use. There are some transition words that we use. Thus, hence, we conclude in such a way. So, in the case of a paragraph, a sentence, key idea, controlling idea, then it is supported with specific evidence in formulating sentences, and then a concluding statement in again reinstating the topic sentence that I have made. I reinstate the statement that I have made in the first sentence of the paragraph. See, this is paragraph. A paragraph, a topic sentence, then the rest of the sentences in support of the topic sentence, then a conclusive statement using a transition signal. How can I apply this to a thesis? How can I apply this to an essay? See, a paragraph is made up of sentences. An essay is made up of paragraphs. See, the logic behind these remains the same. The logic behind these remains the same. What is the logic? You may raise a question. What's the logic? From paragraph to essay to a thesis. What's the logic behind this? See, in the case of a paragraph, you call it an introductory sentence. Then the rest of the sentences as in support of the key idea that you have made, the key point that you have made, then you make a conclusive statement. When you come to the art of writing an essay, you call it as introductory paragraph, then you have body, conclusion. See, in the similar way, you have the pattern in everything. You have this pattern in everything. Introduction, body, conclusion. So it is made up of paragraphs. In the case of a body, you make several paragraphs in support of the thesis statement that you have made for an essay. And then you write a concluding paragraph. Okay. Then I come to the thesis. What then is a thesis? From paragraph to essay to thesis. Progression from paragraph to thesis. See, in the case of a thesis, we divide them into chapters. As we divide the paragraph into sentences, as we divide an essay into paragraphs, we divide the thesis into chapters. See, you need not bring in any other sources when you write a paragraph. You need not bring in any kind of review of literature when you write a paragraph. You need not bring in a review of literature when you write an essay. But when it comes to a thesis, you bring in a review of literature, and we have divided the thesis into chapters. We have divided an essay into paragraphs. We divide paragraph into sentences. But when it comes to the writing of a thesis, we divide them into, we divide them into several chapters. It may have several chapters, but you have the same pattern: introduction, body, conclusion. Well, we may raise a question: what then is introduction? What then is body? What then is conclusion? What is stated in the introductory chapter? What is stated in the body of the thesis? What is stated in the concluding chapter of the thesis? Let me put it in a brief way. The writer, the researcher, tells them what the researcher is going to tell them. The researcher tells the readers. The researcher tells the readers what he is going to tell them. These are said to be the 3 points, are said to be the ministerial 3. these three points that are called the ministerial three. First one, we call it as introduction. Second one, we call it as body. And the third one as conclusion. What is introduction? What the researcher is going to define, which is called, in other words, we call that the subject, and indicates what he is going to tell about it. So let me repeat it again. The researcher tells the reader what the researcher is going to tell them. The researcher introduces the subject and indicates this is introduction. Then the body of the thesis. What's the body of the thesis? The researcher tells what he is going to tell. Then the researcher tells. The researcher explains all the argument thesis. It may have three chapters. The subject that the researcher has chosen, whatever be it, the researcher explains, describes everything in a vivid manner, in an elaborative manner, in the body of the thesis. So, let me repeat it again. The researcher explains, then the next point, the next three, the third one, the ministerial three I told, the third one is the researcher tells the reader what he has told them. The researcher tells the reader what the researcher has told. To put it in a precise way, the researcher sums up and reaches some conclusion about the subject. So, let me repeat it again. Every thesis must have this ministerial three: introduction, body, conclusion. Introduction, the researcher tells the readers what the researcher is going to tell. The researcher, the second one of the ministerial three is the researcher explains the readers, or rather, he tells the readers, he explains the readers, he describes everything vividly to the readers. And the third one is the researcher tells the readers what the researcher has told so far, or rather, in a convincing manner, the researcher sums up and reaches some conclusion about the subject. So these are the important points that we have to bear in mind when we write a paper, a thesis, or a paragraph, whatever be it. Whenever we write, we need to follow certain rules, and these simple rules will keep us away from refraining from any kind of errors. The errors that may appear, a simple one, but they are said to be costly errors. So the next one is the controlling. you have a better chance of proving your point. If you are specific in your controlling idea, you can make the body of the thesis more specific. So again, I am making 3 points, the ministerial, like the ministerial 3, how to be being specific, what are the advantages of being specific when we write a document, when we write a thesis. If you are specific, the reader will know what you mean. If you are specific, you have a better chance of proving your point. If you are specific, whenever we write a thesis or a paragraph or an essay, then what do we write in the body of the thesis? See, we have announced, we have made a controlling idea, we have arrived at a thesis statement, we have arrived at the major controlling idea of the thesis. So it is left to the researcher to support, to develop it. You must develop it. Madam, there are new noises. Having announced your controlling idea, having clearly stated your controlling idea, we need to develop. One has to develop it. One has to develop the controlling idea by way of discussing, explaining, supporting, or proving the controlling idea. So that is what is expected from a researcher. That is what is expected in a research writing, be it a research paper or a thesis. So we have to support the controlling idea by way of discussing it in detail. Explaining it, support. You asked me to give it in a kind of acronym. It is DESP. It is DESP. DESP. We can call it as DESP. Discuss, explain, support, and prove the controlling idea. So how can you support it? You may use when we support, when we discuss, explain, support, or prove, we use facts, reasons, illustrations, comparisons, contrasts, definitions, or similar other techniques. But we must keep in mind, we must always remember that three essential qualities are unity, coherence, and adequate development. These are the three essential qualities. Ministerial 3, I told you, ministerial 3, and then 3 ideas to be more specific, and now I state that we must follow 3 essential qualities, which are unity, coherence, and adequate development. See, a good thesis statement is a key to the unified thesis. A good statement, a good thesis statement, a good controlling idea is the key to the unified thesis. You won't have a good thesis unless every chapter supports one clear controlling idea. See, if you begin with a vague controlling idea, you can easily stay away from your topic and destroy the unit of your thesis with irrelevant details. So once you have stated your controlling idea, stick to it. Your reader doesn't want to be distracted and bored with irrelevant details, bored with extraneous points. If someone starts to tell you a story but gets sidetracked on a lot of unrelated details, you may not bother to listen. A reader who doesn't see any connection between the details in your thesis and your controlling idea will become confused and quickly lose interest. So uh, it is the writer's responsibility to sustain the interest of the reader. The researcher has to sustain the interest of the readers by providing only relevant details. See, irrelevant details or extraneous points will certainly distract your reader. So you must always keep in your mind your reader whenever you write something new. So the potentially good thesis has been ruined when it lacks unity. So unity is important. Then coherence. Make sure that that to see that the chapters link together. The chapters link together in a logical pattern to make a kind of connected whole. So you have your own pattern. A researcher has his or her own pattern of dividing the chapters in the order of preference. So you must make it clear. You must have a clean mind in your a clean approach when you divide it into chapters. So we need to be very careful in chapterization. What's the order of the chapterization from first to progression, from first to the last, the most significant to the least significant. That's how you need to arrange your chapters. So coherence is important. So make sure that your chapters follow an orderly sequence so that the reader can follow cannot be measured by the number of chapters alone. You should work to construct an the paragraph through unified and detailed development of your central idea. It needs hard work. It requires hard work on the part of the researcher to support sufficiently, to support adequate development of the thesis. You must provide adequate of your thesis. Concluding chapter to pull together the group of ideas that make up the body of your thesis. So you need to reinstate the central argument of your study. You need to reinstate the arrive at a possible conclusion of the whole thesis. You have to arrive at a possible conclusion of the whole thesis by reinstating the idea that you have stated in the introductory chapter of the thesis. You A researcher tells the reader what the researcher is going to tell them. The researcher tells them, explains them, and the researcher tells them what the researcher has told them in the conclusive thesis. Whenever we write a research paper, so it's applicable to everything. As I told you earlier, whatever these are all the rules that are applicable even in writing a paragraph, even in writing as from I told you earlier, from paragraph we move from paragraph to paragraph to thesis, paragraph to essay, progression from paragraph to thesis. Only I mentioned earlier, only those who only those who write good paragraphs can write good essays. Those who write excellent paragraphs can write a thesis because the rule remains the same. We apply the same rule whenever we write that. Then the next point that I would like to make is that the significance of outlining in a thesis. What's the purpose of outlining? So I told you these are all the points. All that we need to make a rough outline. A rough outline of see, it may be a sentence outline, it may be a chapter outline, it may be a topic outline. So there are so poor network. So the fact is important to the shaping of a thesis statement, your purpose and your audience. Madam, am I audible? I'm
Yes, sir, you are audible. Sir, you are audible.
okay, madam. You have at hand into a unified, coherent. Where you are heading and to describe something, explain something, argue for a certain point of view, or persuade your reader, then you have to recollect. You have to think of the audience. What audience are you writing for? If your reader is a specialist on the subject, or someone likely to agree or disagree with you, or someone likely to be interested or uninterested in the subject, you have to take into account all these things in mind when you write a research paper or a research thesis. So these are all the points that I would like to highlight in the course of the meeting. I thank every one of you for your kind cooperation and everything. If you have any questions or clarifications or a kind of discussion, you can ask. Let us have a kind of interaction if you have anything.
Thank you, sir. The session is open for the audience. If you have any queries, please go ahead. We request you to post your questions in the chat box.
Good morning, sir. Are you getting me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, you are audible.
Yes, I am K. Paniselvam from Department of MBA, Periyar University, Vallam, sir. So,
Yes.
actually, I have small clarification, sir, with you.
Okay, sir.
When I am writing a paper or a thesis, we are taking some problem. That problem we are going to give a solution. So, when you are finalizing or submitting the papers to the university or anywhere in the thesis, so we are showing only for the focusing the solution only in that whoever seeing the society, I mean people. So which are the points should be very clear, sir. Which are the points should be I have to clear for the thesis.
Sir, could you please repeat the question? Just in one sentence, please.
Yeah. Actually, sir, we are whenever writing the papers or thesis.
Sir.
In my point of view, I am taking some problem. For that problem, I am going to give some solution.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, even if it is in the case of scientific writing, even in the case of scientific writing, so you offer solutions to the problem, and the solutions that you give for the problem should have a kind of readability. It should have a kind of readability for which you need to choose words. You need to choose words and sentences that convey clearly the idea that you would like to inform your readers.
Okay. Okay, sir. Because
Okay.
some of them will use that review of that. That's what I am asking.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need, sir, we include, see, sometimes we include review of literature in the introductory chapter, or else we devote a separate chapter for review of literature. It is left to the researcher and the research supervisor. They together decide whether a chapter on review of literature is necessary, or review of literature can be included in the introductory chapter itself. As far as literature thesis is concerned, scientific or engineering, in in technical subjects and science subjects, they devote a separate chapter on review of literature.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Panisal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is a
Thank you, madam.
question. There is a question in the chat box. Kindly clarify about hypothesis, because many times in the synopsis itself they want to know the conclusion.
The subjects concerned decide whether it is an hypothesis or a thesis statement. But whatever be it, it is said to be the major controlling idea. So we need to have a clear hypothesis. A hypothesis which needs to be precise, clear, and convey the readers the objective of your study, the attitude of your study. See, every subject, whenever we take up a statement, it has a subject and attitude. The attitude must be clear. See, we decide the subject and then we decide the attitude. The attitude is said to be the attitude that we decided is called hypothesis or a thesis statement. But we need to be very specific when we make such a statement.
That's one place where you can catch up some sleep on. Catch up on some sleep.
Thank you, sir. Hope Madam Santoshi Mishra has got a clear idea.
Carefully read the secondary sources, we come to know that this is the research gap that I find. So you need to identify the research gap. The research gap can be identified only by a thorough knowledge of the secondary sources that a subject from the chosen subject.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Sir, I have one question, sir. What is the procedure to write the thesis? What are the procedure?
See, when you raise this question, what are the procedures that we have to follow when we write a thesis? See, it's a convention. See, the procedures in the sense I couldn't get your question, madam. See, there are several procedures. I don't know. Be specific.
Uh, what are the qualities?
See, it depends
I'm
on the
asking the
subject that you choose.
qualities of. I'm asking the qualities of the paper.
Pardon? Qualities.
Quality. Yes.
The first quality, you are talking about the quality of a research paper. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have a kind of academic integrity. See, that's why whenever we intend to publish a research article, first we must the researcher must check for the academic integrity of the paper. See, academic integrity kind of academic integrity. What we call is to avoid plagiarism. And also again there are various factors that contribute to the quality of the research article, the quality of the research paper. You cannot ascertain with mere one quality or two. It may coherence, adequate development, and sufficient information in support of the research article, citing sources from the citing earlier whatever been done earlier, what are the what aspects are covered earlier, and in what way is your research article an addition to the existing research, in what way your article is innovative, in what way your article can contribute to the progress and progress of the society, in what way it can contribute to the growth of the society. Jayashri, shall we come to the end?
Yes, sir. There is one more question at the dialog box.
Now,
To what extent a researcher can use quotes in a thesis?
yes, madam, what's the question?
Sir, to what extent a researcher can use quotations in a thesis?
Quotations. See, we avoid too much when we use. See, you can incorporate quotations then and there when it is needed. See, too much of quotations will, when we use too much of quotations, when we use to quote, you can make it a kind of paraphrase. Instead of quoting verbatim, you can paraphrase the quotation and state within brackets acknowledge. When we use too much of quotations, it will distract the reader. So avoid using too much of quotations. Use quotations here and there, because we cannot write a literary thesis without quotations. But too much of quotations will distract the reader. Hence, use quotations here and there when it is needed.
Thank you, sir. Shall we wind up the session, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, yes.
Thank you for your stimulating speech, sir. Your comments were especially helpful to those doing research in any field. Many members were at a standstill in their progress, and your talk seemed to prove much needed help. Thank you so much for sharing your time and experiences with us. We all agreed that your lecture was the most interesting we had today. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Participants, you will be having a half an hour break, and there will be a link posted in the WhatsApp group so that you can come and join by 11:30. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.